well off as he's
Oh,
proclaiming.
he said that he was living with some white chick. He was just hustling. He was pimping her and just like.
But again, that's my point. This is all fake it till you make it, hustle culture. The worst I can be as a human is going to get me because I have to do whatever it takes to get to the top, whatever the top is. And we can start believing that these things are bigger than they are, more influential than they are. Like someone brought up Andrew Tate in the chat. He's kind of a phenomenon in the sense of he comes out of nowhere, but he's not strictly an internet phenomenon because Andrew Tate was a fighter and he was on a mainstream reality show in Big Brother. So he already had a following, even if he wasn't that big. It's different. Something that I find fascinating, Bomani Jones, I believe that's his name, mentioned this the other day, and I find this kind of fascinating, is Jake and Logan Paul. These are online phenomenons that have translated real world success. These online people are fighting professional fights, making more money than professional fighters. Not fighting professional fighters.
We have another super chat from George Dorsey. Kevin Samuel's audience is just like Jordan Peterson's, except for the skin color difference.
It's absolutely correct. But I would make the same argument for Jordan Peterson. I think that he is taking a pre-existing phenomenon, the manosphere, which comes out of the origins of this stuff is the men's rights movement. You know, you had men going their own way and all this stuff. And he takes it and he amplifies it. But that doesn't mean that there aren't negative real world repercussions to these people. You got Jordan Peterson, man. This guy's selling out like 10,000.
But he had mainstream media attention before he was an online phenomenon.
Jordan Peterson?
Yes.
The only reason people know who he was is because he started being unwilling to call trans people by their
that gave him mainstream media attention in his native Canada and then in the US.
Right. It was that phenomenon that brought him into the public thoroughfare.
But he doesn't start as a hashtag.
That's true.
There's a difference between
but he capitalizes on that very effectively.
Yeah. Say again?
He capitalizes on that very effectively.
Yeah, I mean,
very quickly.
These cats are kind of, they're figuring out the game, which is advertising myself is now content that's digestible. And what I mean by that is the older generation, and I'm not saying that anyone is better than the other. This isn't a generational warfare. It's kind of just a critique. We didn't like the fact that we found out that our best memories of childhood were 22-minute commercials for toys, i.e. cartoons in the 80s. But we still have a brand loyalty. Nike, Apple, right? That really starts, really starts with the later boomers and Gen Xers, right? What happens to the generations after when you're already growing up with brand loyalty? And I'm not just talking clothes, food, everything. The way you think about the world. I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican. Brand loyalty, consumer choices. What influencer culture is you're going to watch my commercial. I'm just a billboard. I'm putting on makeup. I'm going shopping. I'm cutting hair, whatever it is. You're watching a commercial as content. It's beyond the infomercial. The infomercial came on at night. We knew it was either time to go to sleep or we've been up too long, right? Like, oh, the infomercial's on. F the infomercial. The infomercial now has 1 million views and 700,000 followers.
It's true.
And that's what I'm talking about here. These guys are just infomercials and they're peddling something that looks serious. And sometimes we shouldn't take this stuff so seriously.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm at a position right now where I don't think we should underestimate the capacity of online phenomenon having real world political influence. And I agree that MAGA communism and patriotic socialists, which are basically right wingers who want a new deal for white people, are flash in the pans, but I don't necessarily think they have to stay that way. I also agree that a lot of people need to ignore them, but I also agree that people who are of capable skill and adeptness should engage them and should challenge them. In other words, let me be very concise. I'm not saying that the black left should not engage with black conservatives or the black right wing. I do believe that this should be, I think that's part of the problem, that we don't have enough black leftists who can engage and neutralize the black. They have the skill who are engaging black conservatives and black liberals. I'm just saying that I don't necessarily want to be the one. I'll do it with black liberals because I have less visceral contempt for them.
Do they have to be black?
No, but there's a particular reason why I'm talking in the context of race. Because
the reason why I say that is because that's kind of my whole point that I started off the show with. Like, this stuff sits in a certain space with people, right?
Yeah,
I understand. Like, well, I need to see the black on black crime of this.
Well, I tell you why, because number one, I'm seeing white leftists who go on Glenn Lowry's show to validate him. So I can't expect them to deconstruct his horse shit. Sadly. All right.
Fair.
And now I will say this: I have seen many of the Alabaster left take on black liberals. They'll take on, and they do that pretty well. Whether it be Kamala or the black political class, they have. Oftentimes, they get their tools from Black Agenda Report and so on and so forth. But with the rise of Bernie Sanders and Ta-Nehisi Coates, there has been an increase of white leftists who will attack the sheer nonsense politics of the black political class and its liberal acolytes.
I think I asked the question: do they have to be black? Because I don't think they have to be black.
I don't think so at all. But let me tell you what my animating factor is.
Okay.
I see the danger of these black thought leaders as validators of policy that adversely affects poor and working class black people as being an existential threat to the lives of poor and working class black people. And it really bothers me when I read things like, locking up our own, when I read things about the way in which the black political class and black conservatives validated underclass ideology, when I read things about how, it was the welfare that broke up the black family, that it gets repeated in echo chambers over and over again by people who are black nationalists, whether they be Umar Johnson or whether they be Glenn Lowry or even whether they be, various black liberals as well, like, Henry Louis Gates. So I have read enough of, seen enough of, and understand enough of black political history, going back to the early 19th century with eugenics, to see how black thought leaders have literally, with their words and their pens, expressed ideas that destroyed poor and working class black people, and it infuriates me.
I get that, but again, that doesn't tell me why it has to be a black person. It just tells me why it has to be you.
Well, I'm just talking about my motivation. I'm not talking about for all of the black.
Well, that's why I asked you. I don't care about you. I said what? What I was going to say is, I don't think people on the left choose to engage with black right wingers. They don't know they exist, first of all, and second of all, it's just not their thing.
Well, listen, because
race can be weaponized, and nobody wants to deal with that.
Listen, I'm not going to name names because they're friends of our show. There are guests that we've had on our show who are friends of our show, who have literally gone on platforms with black right wingers and validated their enterprise, which is frankly infuriating to me.
Again, I don't think it holds. I'm not saying they're right, because I know I was going to see that person the other day, actually. I know what you're talking about. I just don't think they see it the same way, because
No,
it
they
doesn't
don't.
affect them the same way, because it doesn't affect them the same way.
I think that's a very good analysis.
Right? They don't have to deal with the family. They don't have to go to that neighborhood. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where these guys have pumped up policies, that people keep kind of joking about Bill Cosby, but I don't think they understand the pushback I got from my own black friends when I did that Bill Cosby piece. And I don't think people understand how much cats love Bill Cosby. Love Bill Cosby.